Hello, how are you? Well, I watched a video with Whitney Webb. I don't know if some of you know her. Sorry, but this pillow came down. I've been watching her for many years, way before the pandemic. And she is, of course, not a Christian, but she is like more a researcher. She knows quite a lot about the financial system, about the political system, about the plans of the elite. Let's put it that way. Very important that we do get that information, or that kind of information. And I believe she's a good resource. We have to be careful with everything and check things. But really, I have seen the same thing that she's saying from other people. And she gives you a very, very good prediction of what's coming because of what's going on right now. In this interview that I watched this morning, she talked about the CBDC, central bank digital currency, that she believes will be rolled out very soon, and that they will most likely use some kind of red flag or some kind of crises, 9/11, okay, you can call it nowadays 9/11, a crisis, to implement the system. They're preparing everything right now. I think Norway already has the system in place. And I think by, I don't know, to 2025, they have the system in place for the euro. But yeah, I'm almost certain that the United States has already plans to do the same thing. And again, that is no matter who is going to be president. Trump will sign that into action, because he has done it with everything else. And this system, as she explains it, will lead to, absolute total control. That's the goal, of having control over everybody. So the question is that ushering into the mark of the beast? We're guessing so much, is it the chip, is it this, is it that? But okay, what do we see today that show us clearly what direction we are going towards? I think we need to know the information because we need to be prepared. And again, I also believe, I always say that the full implementation will be put in place after the rapture, because that is an extremely catastrophic event. And they have to control everything after that in order to hide that the rapture happened. And so they will definitely implement and force the mark at that time. But again, I think they will implement it sooner. In other words, we will have an option. Maybe they will have some kind of event, and after that event, many people will go towards, having that system in place with a mark, some kind of mark, and maybe even before true believers or non-true believers will have to choose. Just like with the pandemic, they got, more strict and more strict and more strict on getting the shot. And they may do the same thing. First, they're just going to create this fear-mongering scenario, and people will run, probably most people will run for it, and some will be hesitant, and they will put more pressure and more pressure, and then eventually some politicians will say, well, get this shot, not shot, mark, or whatever it is, I don't know, a digital number, identification number, whatever it is, I don't know. And yeah. Again, who is the one who is implementing this mark? I know I have always new people, and I've done so many videos, people. On the mark, you can go to playlist. I probably have a playlist that says Mark of the Beast. Who will implement it? Oh, people scream the Antichrist. Even people that are not even religious or Christian or whatever, they say, oh, it's the Antichrist that gives the mark of the beast. Well, who's the Antichrist? Somebody told me that in the comment. Something about the Antichrist. I don't remember exactly what you said. Something with the Antichrist. And I said, well, where is that definition of Antichrist in the Bible? Please throw it out. That comes clearly from dispensationalism. People always say, oh, dispensationalism is wrong. It's wrong. And so they also throw away the rapture. But they will definitely keep Antichrist. Who's coming during a tribulation time? I don't know. A 7-year tribulation. They will not give up. Even the rapture deniers will not give up this 7-year tribulation time. They're all false because they're not reading their Bible. This Antichrist doesn't exist. It's made up. It's a fairy tale. It's made up by this Francisco Ribeiro, which was a Catholic professor in 1500. Actually, it was probably not made up by him, but the definition that we're using today was made up by him. The word Antichrist really was made popular by, of course, Martin Luther for the Pope. That's who Antichrist was during the Reformation. And so then the Catholics try to cover up who this Antichrist is, according to Martin Luther. And so they came up with this end times ruler story that doesn't even exist. Yeah, that's a fable, that's a myth, that's a fairy tale. Please go to the Bible and get your bearings straight. 1 John 2. 1 John 2. Okay? Read it. Read it. No, the mark is not being given by the Antichrist. No. Or it's not even an Antichrist, it is many Antichrists. It's not a singular ruler Antichrist. It's everybody who rejects Jesus as Messiah, as really God in the flesh. That's who is Antichrist. Everybody. You know how many people do that? But what are they talking about, Antichrist? Oh, some say, the Antichrist is the beast, or Babylon the Great, or, guess. They all guess. We don't want to guess. We want to know. We want to do the study. I did the study. Go to my playlist, Antichrist. in-depth study. Take your time. No, there is no such thing as Antichrist. But who gives the mark? Revelation 13, and I believe it starts with chapter 9. Not chapter 9. Revelation 13, verse 9. Okay? Could be 11 as well. That's where you have the definition of the beast out of the earth, also called false prophet. I talked about that in my last video. That's who gives the mark of the beast. That is the USA Empire. Remember, I suggested you would read this book by Griffin. Let me get it. Okay, here's the book. It's called The American Trajectory, Divine or Demonic. David Ray Griffin. David Ray Griffin. It's got a whole bunch more books you can find on Amazon. I bought this on Amazon, of course. David Ray Griffin. Read it. If you still don't believe that the United States is the beast out of the earth, you got some thick layers over your eyes. That should tell you. America, the empire. We've been an empire probably since after the Civil War. Since Abraham Lincoln. I keep saying Abraham Lincoln. So, yeah, since Abraham Lincoln, we've been an empire. We have empirical not tendency, but actually actions. And we are now the empire in the world. And you know what empires do. And the United States definitely is the false prophet. It brings falsehood into this world, lies. It preaches freedom and democracy, and then they don't really bring it into this world. No, they bring destruction into this world. It's fake. Everything is fake. I came to this country long time ago, 75, because I thought this is really the country of liberty and of justice and freedom for all. And no, you want to really know the truth, read this book. Read this book. And believe me, he's not the only one who found out the truth. He's mentioning all the people that he used as a reference. Actually, I know quite a lot about the United States from this guy called Daniele Ganza, and I've mentioned him too. He's a Swiss historian. And I learned quite a lot from him about the truth about American history. America is the beast out of the earth, the false prophet. And America is going to administer and push the mark for the whole Western world, just like during the pandemic. Everybody who's aligned with the United States and with NATO will receive the mark. And that's because we have the money system, right, in place right now. The petrodollar, it's still the petrodollar right now, but that petrodollar is coming to an end. And it will usher into this CBDC, central bank digital currency. We will not be able to do anything. You will not be able to store things up. Again, when the mark is totally implemented, when the CBDC is totally implemented, the government will have total control. It will be a combination, like Whitney Webb said, between private enterprise and the government, just like they did during the pandemic. Everybody will walk in lockstep or march in lockstep. They will all go along with it. And whoever doesn't, this time, yeah, we will wiggle out of it for a while. But I believe once the rapture happens, that's going to be the final hammer. I'm going to call it hammer that will come down on humankind. They will finally then control everybody. And again, if you don't think you're going to be raptured by that time, your head's going to go off. I say that all the time. You're going to go into a concentration camp where they're going to re-educate you. All that will happen. I believe, and that's my belief. Actually, it's based on my biblical studies, that I find the mark of the beast really during the wrath of God. And I know that the bride is gone before the wrath. I still have people arguing with me. Still people have a hard time understanding that the day of the Lord are many events. They think Jesus comes back once and that's going to be it. How is that going to happen? If he comes back, then there's more events happening. They say, oh, he only comes back once. It's like, they don't understand that there's many events happening. What is up with you? I had to write somebody again. It's like, which part don't you understand? You know, when I'm visiting to Germany, yeah, I get to the airport in Frankfurt. That's the first thing. But that's not going to be the end. I'm going to drive to my mother's house, and I'm going to meet with my mother, and then I'm going to meet with my family members. I'll meet with my friends, and then I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. This is all events that are going to happen during that time. So there's a timeline. And the same thing when Jesus returns, there's a timeline. First, he's going to pull out his bride because he doesn't want his bride to be left behind when he destroys his enemies. And then during this event, during this wrath of God, that's when they will implement the mark of the beast. They want to have total control. They don't want people to know that the rapture happened. And the two witnesses will preach the gospel. Nobody wants to listen to these two witnesses. And believe me, nobody will. Because if they do, heads go off. Heads will go off. And you believe them. Yes, and the United States is pushing it. Will be pushing it. And I'll guarantee Israel will be the first one to receive the mark. That'll be interesting. Okay, if you're going to be left behind, it's going to be interesting. Just like Israel was number one right now in getting the shot. They would just practically, the government practically forced people in Israel to take a shot. I don't know how many Orthodox Jews, did it. They should have never done it, but oh well. I had to bring that one in. So all this will come, yes, from the beast out of the earth, from the false prophet. Again, read Revelation 13. That false prophet is the United States. Empire. A beast is always empire. Okay? Why are people not understanding that? Why are they guessing around? Why do they think, oh, beast is what, who knows what? No, beast is empire. You should kind of realize that in Daniel 7. Because Daniel 7 kind of correlates with Daniel, Daniel 2, the statue. Every one of these parts in that statue were empires. Babylonian, Persian, Greek, and Roman. Same thing with Daniel 7. Same, the beast, 4 beasts, same. Empires. Empires. Until Jesus came, the 4th empire. And then John saw the 5th empire, which is the beast out of the earth. Again, look at my playlist, Antichrist. So you understand these end times players. Don't forget to watch this video with Whitney Webb. I don't watch her all the time. I basically already know what she has researched. I mean, she does more and more research. But really, it's obvious that that's what they're going towards, is this CBDC, this central bank digital currency. And yes, it's obvious they're going to force it at some point, that everybody will be under it, because they want total control. They don't want democracy. Democracy was only a pretense to get what they wanted. It's just a means for them to really control the whole world. So people would go along for a time period while they're using them. It's a lure. It's a deception. Again, read Revelation 13, and it tells you that this beast is deceiving the world in many areas. Deceiving the world. I don't need to read it. You read it. You read it. And what happens with that beast? What happens with the false prophet? Revelation 16, where is it? 12? Studying verse 12. The Armageddon war. They will all be in that Armageddon war. And the false prophet will be defeated and will be thrown into the lake of fire. Yes, your system, this American system. No, it is not exceptional, and it is not from God, and it's not divine. Why would it be thrown into the lake of fire if it's divine? Oh, yeah, who is it? It's Kamala Harris, that's the bad guy, right? Oh, it's Biden, that's the bad guy. Oh, it's the Democratic Party, that's the bad guy. Oh, it's the Clintons that are the bad guy. I'm not saying that they're not. But look at the other side. Who is also bad on the other side? They're the same. They're again pretending. They're pretending they're for liberty. They're pretending that they're for democracy. They're pretending that they're going to do something better. Why do you think Biden was put in place? The deep state. Who is the deep state, people? Who is behind our government? And I'm not talking about just the Democrats. I'm talking about all of them. Who is behind them? Well, it's not just the money. Go a little bit deeper. Of course, if you're not believing in Satan anymore, then you will not know who is truly behind. Spoke like a dragon. Isn't that what it even starts out? Looks like a lamb, but spoke like a dragon. Or the dragon. No, make no mistake. The United States, both parties are false prophet. Both of them. And whoever is going to be the next president most likely will lead us, maybe, into the Armageddon war. It's a possibility. Let me think. 2-3 years. Yeah, it's possible. It's very possible. But it doesn't matter. No matter what president is in charge of the United States, it's still the false prophet. And that false prophet will end up in the lake of fire. Every president will end up in the lake of fire. Yeah, it doesn't matter who, what side. Go look back. Look at every president. Come on. Sable rattlers. Every one of them was a sable rattler. Oh, Trump didn't start any war. Yeah, he didn't finish any wars either. Well, did he finish any wars? I don't know. They were still continuing in Syria. And did he really stop the war in Afghanistan? Oh, no, he left that to Biden too. Yeah. So now he can complain about Biden, how he finished up, how he left Afghanistan. I don't know, people, they're playing games with us. That's what the beast out of the earth does. Deception. Nothing but deception. And it's that beast that will administer and push the mark all over the world. I don't know if China and Russia will do it. I think there's going to be some that don't. Why? Because they're right now, all the ones that are joining the BRICS nation, they know something is coming. They know something is coming. And we can actually see now the sides, because there's going to be two sides in this coming war, in the Third World War. We are actually aligning, the people are aligning. Somebody said, oh, now we can see, who's on the side of whatever, Russia, Iran, and Turkey. Oh, that's from the north, right? People, no. They're all aligning behind the BRICS. That means the kings from the east are coming. And it's not just Russia and Turkey and Iran. They're all aligned now. You're dealing with Russia, you're dealing with Iran, you're dealing with Turkey. Guess what you're dealing with? You're also dealing with China and allies of China. And yeah, Turkey is kind of a strange country because Turkey still has, of course, the United States. I don't know if they still have bases in there, but they're somewhat still kind of connected with the United States. But they are slowly going their own way. And they are aligning themselves more and more, of course, with the Arab nations, which is Iran and the other Arab nations. We have to be waking up. I made this video today more about the political situation, but we need to understand who this beast out of the earth is. We have another year before Jesus can return. And we will have to live in this world and not be swept away by it. Again, we have to stop going with the world, going with the things of this world, because the things of this world will be destroyed. Everything will be destroyed. You should have seen how fast people lost their property in North Carolina and in Florida. Eventually, we're going to run out of money. How much more damage can somebody, endure? Or country, or even insurance. Insurance is going to run out of money. And I know that these events will get worse and worse as we get closer to the wrath of God. And then, of course, the wrath of God will make it even worse than that. But yeah, we are going towards that. And eventually, yes, we will be raptured, and the rest will have to go through it. I'm coming to an end, people. Let the Holy Spirit guide you, always.